All right, buckle up, everyone.
Yeah.
Because today we are diving headfirst into the BCG matrix. You want a practical understanding of this thing, and we are ready.
Yeah, it's a model that's, well, it looks simple from afar, but when you really get into it, it's got some real depth to it strategically.
For sure, for sure. So we're talking about getting a handle on a business's products, their lineup, right?
Yeah.
But we don't want to just like slap on some labels and call it a day. We want to get our hands dirty and figure out how to use this thing. So picture this. You've got this chart, the BCG matrix, right? Two main things on it. One, market growth rate. The other, market share. What's the deal with those two? Could you break them down a bit?
All right, so think about it like this. Market growth rate, that's all about the playing field. Is it expanding like crazy, like those electric cars everyone's talking about? Or is it more kind of settled, maybe even shrinking a bit, like those old landline phones?
So is that like the whole market in general, or just like how well one company's doing in that market?
Yeah, good one. It's about the whole market, the big picture, like what is it they say, a rising tide and all that. But when the market's shrinking, even the big dogs got to fight for every scrap.
Makes sense. So big growth rate, that's exciting, lots of potential. Small growth rate, tread carefully.
Exactly. Now you take that growth rate and you pair it up with market share. That tells you how much of that market a company actually controls. Are they top dog, like say Coca-Cola, everyone drinks that stuff, right? Or are they more like a small fish in a big pond?
Okay, so it's like, I don't know, sizing up an athlete or something. You got their raw talent, that's your market growth rate, but then you also need to know their track record, wins and losses. That's their market share, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to put it. You gotta see the whole picture. And that's really where the BCG thing shines. It doesn't just label products, it uses those two things to tell you what to do.
And that's where our four famous friends come in.
Uh,
The quadrants, question marks, stars, cash cows, and, well, dogs. Not exactly the most exciting names, but I'm guessing there's a reason for it.
oh, there is. There is. And we'll get into each one, don't you worry. But the big idea here is each quadrant, that's a different type of product, each with its own, like, possibilities and headaches that come with it.
All right, then let's jump right into those quadrants. We'll start with question marks. What makes these guys so mysterious?
Question marks, those are the ones, well, they're kind of like wild cards. Loads of potential, growing fast, but they haven't quite grabbed a big chunk of the market yet. Could be huge, could fizzle out. That's what makes them so interesting. And risky, too, got to be honest.
So how do you even approach that as a company? I mean, do you go all in, betting it'll be a winner, or hold back because you're scared?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's a real balancing act. One thing some companies do, they call it the product C strategy. Basically, they toss out a bunch of different versions, see what people actually buy.
Yeah, like with smartphones. Back in the day, remember,
Yeah.
every company had like 10 different models, all these crazy features, trying to figure out what would stick.
Exactly. Back then, every new phone, that was a question mark. The winners, they became stars. The others, well, they taught everyone a lesson, let's put it that way.
Survival of the fittest, tech world edition. All right, so question marks, they're all about trying things out, testing before you, like, build the factory. But speaking of winners, let's talk stars. Big growth, big market share, those are the ones everyone wants, right?
The superstars, no doubt, raking in the cash, but here's the catch. Stars, they need constant attention. You want to stay on top, you got to keep investing, innovating, and watching your back, because everyone wants to be you.
Isn't there a saying about that? Like, harder to stay at the top than to get there.
Yeah.
So it's not enough to just have a star, you got to know how to keep it shining.
You got it. Often means taking the money you're making from that star, pouring it right back in, fight off the competition, even, make your own product outdated before someone else does. Got to be ruthless.
That's wild. So you're like disrupting yourself on purpose, staying one step ahead. Is that why, say, Apple, they come out with a new iPhone, what, every 5 minutes? Even though the old ones are still selling fine.
Bingo. They're playing the long game, staying the star, even if it means, sacrificing some stuff along the way.
Speaking of long game, let's move on, shall we? Cash cows.
Yeah.
Not growing as fast, but man, they own the market. Those are your reliable money makers.
That sounds pretty comfortable. Just, like, sit back, rake it in, enjoy the ride. Tempting to just coast on a cash cow, isn't it? I get it. But even cash cows, you can't just ignore them. They need attention, too. Can't just assume the money's going to keep flowing forever. Got to work for it a bit.
So what's the secret sauce? What separates the companies who keep the cash cow healthy versus the ones who let it, go out to pasture?
It's about making as much money as possible, sure, but also making that product last, extending its lifespan. Think about Coca-Cola, the classic one. That's been around forever. Soda isn't exactly the hottest thing going right now, but Coke, they're still printing money.
Powerful example. They're not reinventing the wheel, but they are really good at the whole brand thing, getting it everywhere, even those little tweaks to the recipe they make sometimes.
Exactly. Those cash cows, they give you breathing room. You can take those profits, invest in some question marks, prop up your stars, maybe even, dare I say, deal with those dogs.
Ah, yes, the dogs. Low growth, low market share. Not where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like it's the end of the line for a product.
Not always a dead end, but definitely a time to, step back and think. Dogs, they were often stars once, or even cash cows. Now they're lagging behind, maybe still making a little money, but the future's uncertain.
So how do you decide? Do you try to revive it, give it a makeover, or just cut your losses? Must be tough, especially if it's a product people have, an emotional attachment to, a history.
Oh, for sure. Sentimentality can really mess with your head, but that's where the BCG thing is helpful. It's about the data, not your feelings. Sometimes, smartest thing you can do is walk away from a dog, put that energy into something better.
Got to be ruthless, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our 4 quadrants: question marks, stars, cash cows, and the dogs. Each one tells you where a product is in its life, basically. But just knowing that, that's only half the battle, right?
Yeah.
We're going to actually use this to make better decisions. So, all right, we know what the quadrants mean. That's great. But how do we actually put this knowledge to work? It's got to be more than just, something you learn in a business class and then forget.
Absolutely. This isn't just theory,
Yeah.
The BCG matrix, it's like a tool. You use it to make decisions, real decisions about your products, your resources, even how you approach the whole market.
Okay, so it's like multi-purpose, not just a fancy chart on the wall. Let's break down those uses a bit. First up, portfolio optimization. What's the main idea there?
Imagine you're an investor, right? You got your money in different places. You wouldn't put it all on one horse, right? Same deal with the company's products. You want to mix some high growth, some steady earners, different stages of that life cycle, all those quadrants.
So it's about balance, right?
Yeah.
You need the cash cows to keep things running, and that lets you take some risks on the stars. Question marks.
That's it. Like a dance, Each product playing its part. Might even have a few dogs in there, as long as they're still pulling their weight, paying the bills. The BCG matrix, it helps you decide. Who needs more attention, more money, or maybe time to say goodbye?
So you're not treating every product the same. Got to make choices. And that leads us right into resource allocation. Those decisions, man, those can be brutal, especially in big companies. Everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Oh, tell me about it. Everyone thinks their project is the most important. But with the BCG matrix, you take some of that emotion out of it. You look at the data, make a plan.
Give me an example. How would a company actually do that, use it to make those tough calls?
Okay, so let's say you've got a star product, right? Selling like crazy, but it needs a lot of support to stay ahead. Marketing, development, even the boss has got to be on board. The BCG matrix would say, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Invest in that star while it's hot.
Strike while the iron's hot. Right.
Hey.
But that takes resources away from other products, doesn't it?
Could do. And that's where the strategy comes in. The BCG matrix would also say, hey, don't forget about those cash cows. Keep them healthy. They're the ones paying for this whole party. It's about trade-offs, Not every product gets the same attention.
Makes sense. Now, what about new products, ones just starting out? Seems like the BCG matrix could be helpful there too, right? Figure out if an idea's got legs before you go all in.
100%. It's like a reality check early on. You map out the market, the competition, use the BCG matrix, and it can tell you, is this thing going to be a star, a question mark, or maybe even a dog from day one?
So you got to be willing to kill your darlings, as they say. Better to find that out early. Put your energy somewhere else.
Exactly. Data over dreams sometimes, even with new stuff. And finally, we've got those market operation strategies. That's a big one. How does the BCG matrix help you with the whole, big picture approach to the market?
It's like, does it tell you if you should play it safe or go big or what?
Yeah, what's your company's personality? Are you all about that constant growth, always chasing the next star? Or are you more about, steady as she goes, keep the cash cows happy, protect what you've built?
So it's like almost a philosophy, right? It influences your risk tolerance, how you invest, the whole culture of the company even.
It's a way of seeing, the market, your competition, yourself even. Helps you understand where you fit.
I like it. This has been eye-opening.
Yeah.
But Got to be honest, nothing's perfect, right? The BCG matrix, it's got its limits.
Oh, for sure. It's a snapshot, a moment in time. Things change fast. Today's cash cow, that's tomorrow's dog if you don't keep up.
So can't just do it once and forget it. Got to keep checking in, keep
Well,
adapting.
right. It's one tool, one piece of the puzzle. You got your gut feelings, your experience, other factors that go into it.
Use it wisely, not blindly. That's the key takeaway. Any parting words for our listeners before we wrap this up?
Next time you're looking at a company, maybe thinking about investing, or just curious, put those BCG matrix glasses on. Look at their products. Can you spot the stars, the cash cows, the whole gang? I guarantee you'll see things differently.
It's like X-ray vision for business. All right, everyone, that was the BCG matrix broken down for you. Remember, knowledge is power. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.